Rebellion and an officer in the American Revolution at the battles of Bunker Hill, Stony Point, and Saratoga. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today is none other than Daniel Shays himself. And how are you, Daniel Shays?
Just fine, and how are you?
Just great. Today we'd like to ask you a few questions about the rebellion you led from August 1786 to February of 1787 against the legislature.
Ask away.
Okay, first off, what caused this bitter resentment between the farmers and the legislature?
As you know, the nation was going through a time called the Critical Period in the 1780s. The Critical Period was a time in which the nation suffered from an economic depression, state economic rivalries, and low prestige both at home and abroad. But in the summer of 1786, the Civil War broke out in Massachusetts when the state legislature refused to help the farmers who were deeply in debt. If it wasn't bad enough, the legislature also used their power to shift the tax burden to land rather than to commerce, causing the farmers to be jailed or sold into indentured servitude because they couldn't afford the payments.
This must have really angered the farmers. Didn't the farmers do anything to try to appeal to the legislature?
Several times, but they merely ignored the farmers' requests for relief.
So I take it this is where the rebellion began.
Yes, the Massachusetts farmers armed themselves and marched on courthouses in several counties, forcing them to close down.
Why were the farmers so eager to close down these courthouses?
To prevent execution of foreclosures and debt processes.
This being successful, what did you all do next?
I then led a force of about 1,200 men in an attack in January 1787 on the federal arsenal at Springfield, intending to seize the ammunition. However, the governor heard of our rebellion and raised a well-armed state militia and easily defeated us. I fled to Vermont.
How did the people of Massachusetts react to Shays' rebellion?
When people found out all that had been going on, they sympathized with the farmers and were outraged by the government's actions.
Did the rebellion have any long-lasting significant impacts on either the people or the state of Massachusetts?
Yes, in fact it did. As a result of the rebellion, the legislature enacted laws easing the economic conditions and debtors. And with the people of Massachusetts constantly enraged by the government, there was a movement to replace the Articles of Confederation by a new constitution, creating a stronger national government.
Well, thank you, Daniel Shays, for sharing your experiences with us today. But I'm afraid we've run out of time for today. Again, it was a pleasure.
Sunny Lynn Fowles. Welcome to Entertainment Tonight.
Our first feature story tonight is concerning the upcoming Masquerade Ball. The Masquerade is being held to support our troops and raise money for weapons, clothing, and food. The upcoming event will be held on December 14th at 9:30 p.m. in the Town Hall. At the stroke of midnight, a firework display will be outside of the Town Hall. Be sure to help support our men and come to the Masquerade Ball.
In last night's cockfighting event, Dutch took on Gunner, champion of the WWCF, to defeat and gain the title. Gunner's owner, Donald King III, explained why Gunner was defeated. Apparently he was afflicted with a minor virus and was unable to perform to his greatest abilities. But he did mention that Gunner will be back with full potential in the upcoming weeks. A rematch is scheduled sometime in January. Fighting event, Dutch took on Gunner. The upcoming play, Rich Girl, Poor Boy, will be held on January 6th, continuing through the 9th.
The theatrical performance of Bill will be held sometime in February. The dates will be announced on upcoming segments of Entertainment Tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight. Tune in next week for another episode.
Back to you, Ben and Brian and Dan.